Hello, everyone. I'm McCarthy. I am a senior majoring in computational neuroscience with a minor in management consulting, and welcome to Industry Insider session number 2 for the creative health and wellness fields. So, today we're going to be talking about networking and informational interviews. And here are the things we're going to cover in today's session. So, first, what is networking? Networking is described as the exchange of information and ideas among people with a common profession or special interest, usually in an informal social setting. And as you'll see throughout the presentation, networking has been very important to my job search, and I hope to share that importance with you guys. So, quick quiz question coming on the next slide to demonstrate the importance of networking. Okay, so can anyone guess for every one person who was hired via online application, how many were hired via referral? The answer is for every one person who was hired via online application, 12 were hired via referral. So this shows how much of a weight a referral holds and how many referrals do come from networking. So here are the 3 P's of networking that we'll go through: purpose, people, and process. Starting off, what's the purpose of networking? It's to learn, connect, job hunt, and gather information. Now, how do we determine who to network with? This is based on an industry that you're interested in, based on the type of role you're looking for, and then going even narrower, a specific company with your industry of interest. Lastly, you want to be specific about the level that you're looking to network with. So if you are a sophomore in college right now, you might want to be connecting with various people on LinkedIn to reach out to as potential contacts, and it's smart to set up coffee chats with these people. But if you're applying for an internship for a certain company, you want to reach out to recent grads or entry-level employees or alumni to have a coffee chat with, not the partner or CEO. And then applying this to the field of medicine, you might be in a better place to network with a medical student or a new resident rather than the chief surgeon right now. Now, how do we go about networking? There are various ways. Starting with on-campus events, you can go to career fairs, info sessions, alumni sessions, peers in classes, professors, peers in clubs, etc. The way that I got my internship for this past summer was by attending the career fair and I met the recruiter there. Then LinkedIn, you can connect with people and alumni and message them. You can send a lot of cold LinkedIn messages that can really get the ball rolling on different connections, and I will show kind of an example of how to do that later in the presentation. Next, friends and family. Don't be afraid or ashamed to utilize your connections if they're there. Lastly, cold emails, similar to LinkedIn message. You can often find someone's email in a company if you know their name by looking up that company's email template format. It'll say something like first.last@company.com or something like that. Now, where can I network at USC? So you can filter your event search on Handshake and look specifically for networking events if you just use this category drop-down bar. This will show you on campus This will show you on-campus events or hybrid events put on by USC. Alumni from various companies often will host these info sessions or networking events because they are specifically looking for undergrads like you all to potentially recruit. So don't pass these ones up. And then here's the layout of Handshake of the networking events it comes up with. So sometimes it's put on by USC or the Career Center or by an actual company. Next, process deep dive. So Steve Dalton wrote a book called The 2-Hour Job Search, and I wanted to summarize it in this presentation. He makes some great points in his book about the job search regarding networking and informational interviews. And I was very interested in his background because he got his bachelor's in chemical engineering and then went on to get his MBA. And I like that intersection between science and business. So I was pretty trusting on his expertise with the job search. But what he said is that outside of local networking events, you may take it upon yourself to engage in informational interviews with employers, recruiters, or someone you met at an event who you want to learn more about. Informational interviews are a great way to network and can lead to referrals or deeper knowledge. So, the benefits of an informational interview, aka a coffee chat, you own the conversation. You prompted this call, you asked for it, and they agreed to it, so they're clearly willing to be there. You can really ask whatever you want. It's more private, it's not like you're in an info session with tons of students, so you can kind of form a personal relationship with this person. Again, you're just adding another person to your network. make sure at the end of the call to thank them, and they'll most likely say something like, feel free to reach out with more questions. And this is your opportunity to foster that relationship and potentially lean on it in the future for a referral if you have a continued interest in their company. And this is helpful for companies that may not directly come to USC. And again, I will show later in the presentation examples of how something like this has really impacted the rest of my career search throughout college. So Steve Dalton's strategy involves three steps, which we'll get into: prioritize, contact, and recruit. So in step one, prioritize, he brings up this concept of a lamp list. A lamp list is a curated list of target companies that can help you narrow your job search and be strategic in the process of looking for new roles. LAMP stands for List, Alumni, Motivation, and Posting. So I'm going to jump into each one of these and show some personal examples for each category. Starting off with list. To start the LAMP process, make a list of 40 target employers that you're interested in. You really can't have too many. These companies can be big or small. Maybe you know someone who works there, maybe you've heard about it in class, but regardless, this step is just for generating ideas and brainstorming and seeing if there's any trends in your thought process. How are all these companies connected? This might even help you understand your own interests if you're currently totally lost on what you want to do, which is totally fine. You do not have to commit to these 40 companies, and you can change your list as your interests and values change. Okay, so this was something I started last year, and I really like notebooks and having journals for different things and subjects. So I started my own kind of lamp list, and it turned into a career and networking journal. So I started keeping track of companies that interest me, and I collected these through various times. I heard peers talking about companies or professors, or even just saw a posting on LinkedIn. Excuse me, sorry. Okay. And then see, I use this little symbol to say that I talked to someone there. Okay. Next on the limp list is alumni. So LinkedIn is great for this. If you just type in the search bar in quotations USC and name of company you're interested in. Um, it'll pull up a ton of people from USC that work at that place, and that's a great place to start connecting and cold messaging. This picture also shows how LinkedIn shows you how many people from your school alumni work there, or how many of your school alumni work there. Excuse me, I'm very sorry. I'm gonna go grab some water really quick, and I will be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. So here's another page from my notebook where I recorded details from coffee chats that I had. So as you can see, again, I'm interested in this science business crossover. So this girl studied BME and then went on to get her MBA. Um, this is a girl I had a coffee chat with, and she told me about her experience at Abbott, which is a medical device and healthcare company. And from there, I learned that they have an internship program, and there's various internship titles within their program that I was interested in. Another piece of advice is at the end of your call, you should ask your new contact if there's anyone else they might suggest reaching out to. This can broaden your network even more, and if you liked your call and liked what you heard about your company, keep growing your network. Set up a time for yourself once or twice a week where you dedicate an hour to connecting with people and cold emailing people. It might seem like a lot of work right now, but when your future self has an internship or job, you'll be able to connect the dots backward and understand the value that this had. So the M in the LAMP method stands for motivation. You want to record on a scale from 1 to 5 your overall interest and motivation for each company on your list. A means you're super motivated to apply there, and a 5 means you're super motivated to apply there, and a 1 means it may not be your first choice. So order your companies based on the ranking you gave them to help you prioritize your networking, cover letters, and efforts. So sorry. Just grabbing my water. Now for P. The P stands for posting. So let's talk about navigating current job postings. You can use Handshake, LinkedIn, or company websites to see if your target company currently has a job posting up. This can help you gauge whether or not they are hiring. So it'll say when it was posted and when the deadline is. On Handshake and LinkedIn, you can see how many people have already applied, but never let that number scare you. Always take the chance because you really have nothing to lose. Now, here's a visual of how you might make a list in Excel or Google Sheets to keep track of your applications and the companies of interest. Your lamp list now serves as a tool to help you know which companies and connections to prioritize in order to get your dream job or internship. Now, going back to the discussion of cold emailing and cold messaging, Steve Dalton suggests a strategy of prioritizing companies with alumni and job postings. He says to start with a batch low in motivation and move upwards as you refine your email and outreach strategy, basically so that you can get better as you go. See what gets responses and what doesn't. Now, how to select people. So you want to identify two people you want to talk to. Use LinkedIn, professional groups, panels, etc. They should be functionally relevant or alumni, 1 to 2 levels above where you would start. So again, as I mentioned, not the CEO of the company. Here's an example of how you can refine your search process on LinkedIn, and then you can see that a USC alum comes up. So this would be a great person to reach out to if you're interested in Abbott. Now, I mentioned this already, but here are some methods to contact people: LinkedIn Messenger, Google Stalking, LinkedIn invites, and secondary connections. Now, what about how to curate these cold emails? Don't immediately sell yourself and explain your whole resume in a lengthy email. Make it short and concise and to the point. Don't ask them for help or advice. Sorry, ask them for help or advice. They were in your shoes once, someone helped them, and they usually want to give back when they remember sending the exact same email that they are receiving from you. The email is not where it ends, it's where it starts. So you want to ask for a conversation, whether that's in person, over Zoom, or even just over the phone. Now, he also talks about the email rules. This image on the left is a great example of a concise, to the point email you might send. But I would definitely add in a suggestion for a time to meet to make the process easier for them and limit the back and forth emails you might have to send. This is brief, human, subtle, direct, and egoless. Those are the 6 point email rules. Now I'll show you a couple examples of times this has worked for me. So here's someone at Amgen for a program I was interested in. I said, "Hi, Jessica. I'm a sophomore at USC and I came across your page. I'm interested in following a similar career path as you and would love the chance to talk with you. Do you have any time for a quick call next Monday or Tuesday after 6 p.m.?" And she said, "Yep, would be happy to connect," because I made it very easy for her to respond in that way without having to read a lengthy message and respond in a lengthy way. Um, and then because we had a great call, I felt comfortable reaching out to her again in the future. And these types of people love to help undergrads like us because most likely someone helped them too. Now, here's a more lengthy message, but this was someone I briefly met this summer on my internship. Um, this summer when he quickly came through my lab, but it wasn't really appropriate timing to engage in a long discussion as he was very busy, so I connected with him on LinkedIn. He's the neurosurgical robot operations lead at Neuralink. I said, "Hi, Chase. I met you last week in the innovation lab at Barrow. I am one of the undergrad interns working here this summer. I've been fascinated by Neuralink for years and excited by all that you are doing. I remember you mentioned your background in electrical engineering, and I would love the chance to talk to you about this. As I enter my junior year in college, I'm trying to figure out which route I should take, and I would really appreciate the chance to speak with you about the field. Do you happen to have any time this week or next for a quick phone call?" Then he says, "Hey, McCarthy, it was great to meet you. I'm sorry we didn't get more of an opportunity to speak in person, but I'd be happy to hop on a call with you." Um, and then, long story short, we ended up um, having a call. Our call went great. I asked for additional contact suggestions, and he connected me with the lead neuroscientist at the company. So that's an example of really getting asking for more context and it leading to a wider network. Here's another example of when I had an interview with a company. So I reached out to someone working there already to ask for advice on the recruiting process, as she was a recent graduate and had recently gone through the process. So once again, she was happy to help because she did the same thing when she was in my position. So you can go ahead and read this, similar setup to my previous messages. Now, these cold emails don't always land, and people are very busy, so they might not respond, and that's okay. But it's also okay to follow up after a week if you haven't heard back from them. So, takeaways from today: be confident when you network, stay true to yourself, and don't be afraid to explore your interests. Don't sell yourself. Instead, try to have an open and honest conversation in the spirit of learning, and lean on your lamp list to help you stay organized and strategic. So that's the end of today's session. Next Wednesday, um, we have interviewing 101 at 5 p.m. in this same room, and I hope to see you all there. And remember that my email is always open, and I have office hours to talk more and answer questions on Tuesday and Thursday mornings.